My name's John McQuiston. I go to Allegheny College. I'm our rugby team's new captain, and I would like to share something about myself with you. Did you know 19% of young people contemplate or attempt suicide each year? History. His story. I like that people can pursue a field of studies like history. It's needless to say that understanding people's mistakes of the past is paramount. For me, listening to someone tell his story of dealing with depression is far more beneficial than understanding how to use a mathematical equation to solve the same problem. I've heard enough people describe a battle well lost with depression. A lot of people who either chose to or considered giving up on living. When I first came to grips with what I was facing, I had to know what other people felt like. I could recognize through watching or listening to other people's testimony that my opposition, this depression, while at first seemed so confusing and so invincible by nature, later showed its weakness through rugby. My fellow teammates recently voted me to be their captain because, quote unquote, he's a great example of someone who leads by example. I thought it was profound to hear that about myself. But how profound for them would it be to find out that I, their fearless leader, struggles with depression? How can I depict the way I struggle with depression as the way I've learned to overcome physical adversity on the rugby field? I don't know yet, but I do know that actions speak louder than words, and that the action taken by someone to end their own life over the same thing that I deal with was enough to spur me on to finding an outlet. I think what attracts me to rugby is that it takes so much concentration that I can block out a bout with depression. It requires so much thinking that I don't have a chance to consider feeling pain, because that pain is not as bad as it could be, not as bad as it would be were I not playing rugby. I've heard people say to me, "How can you play such a brutal sport? Games are 80 minutes long? Wait, you don't wear any pads?" I find it to boggle some people's minds who have watched me play before ask me those questions. If I can answer them truthfully, I would explain that they instead would be asking me about a struggle they did not witness. A struggle that 1 in 4 college students deal with day to day on their own terms. As much as I probably convey having a hatred for any unfortunate player on the other team, I'm actually very unaware of them being in the same game as me. I'm only ever competing with myself on the field, and I believe that is how rugby has taught me ways of dealing with my bouts of depression as they come and go. As if they paid for beachfront property within my mind. Depression elicits a kind of pain that is so unlike any other. Its approach to pain is insidious. It's hideous. It has more ability to crush a given moment for me than I have at any moment of my own to disregard it in return. Once I came to grips with the fact that I wasn't going crazy, I wasn't being melodramatic. I saw depression for being something that isn't the omega. I can deal with this. Ipso facto, playing rugby has taught me how to handle pain that I perceive as being real. It makes me feel so alive, so sober from an everyday life that almost none of my peers are aware of. I've tried to teach myself that the pain I experience from having bouts with depression is in my mind. That pain is the nature of things I deal with. It's the nature of the sport.